So it's wine time on the patio. And if you've been following our Facebook posts, Wino Tours was traveling through Missouri this past week. And on that trip in Missouri, we visited about 22 different wineries. On different wine trails, all different wineries. We did tastings, wine flights, whatever the different ones were doing. And in Westphalia, Missouri, we found this amazing little winery called Westphalia Winery. And this is a bottle of their wine that we purchased there. And this is called Sweet Renaissance. And it is called Renaissance because the grape is Missouri Riesling. So it's a specific type of Riesling that was grown in Missouri before Prohibition. It was mostly wiped out during Prohibition, and then there were a few vines left, and some of the wineries in Missouri were growing this grape, but it wasn't very stable. They had trouble with the vines splitting and such, and so it kind of just fell out of favor. The owners of Westphalia discovered that there was some vines still growing. They were planted in 1890, and they were at the National Agricultural Experimentation Center, which is at Cornell University. I don't think it's part of Cornell, but it's located there. But anyway, you know, Cornell has a lot to do with vines and grapevines and grape sort of breed hybrids and all kinds of things there. So they found out that they had this, and they got some cuttings, and they planted some of these original, what they believe were from the very original Missouri Riesling grapevines. And they're growing really well. They're not having the problems with the splitting and so forth like they were having in the past. So they think these might be perhaps the only original cuttings from those grapes that survived the Prohibition era. So it's pretty exciting. They had a lot of really good wines, but you know, Riesling is a sweeter white wine. And so we're gonna just give a little pour on this. So you might notice, if you're a Riesling drinker, that this Missouri Riesling is a little bit more of a darker color. So it's a little more golden yellow than what you might be used to for your Rieslings. And that's part of, I think, one of the qualities of this particular grape. So it's really interesting. And it's got a really unique nose on it. It's not exactly, it's got a sweetness, but it's not exactly the same as a normal Riesling. But it's really sweet, it's really refreshing, and you definitely recognize it as a Riesling. So it's unusual, it's kind of special, but it's really a good sort of summer wine. We actually chilled this today so that it would be a little cooler. I like my white wines chilled, which is how most people usually serve them. This is actually a Riesling glass too. So it's a white wine glass, but it's designed by the Riedel glass company, which I talk about a lot. Those are my favorite glasses. And it's very similar to their basic white wine glass, but it just comes in just a little bit. So you can use it for any white wine. It's the one I use most often actually, but it's technically supposed to be for Riesling. So that's kind of a fun little fact as well. So we did a tasting there at their tasting room. They offer free tastings, which I thought was really nice, and they're doing traditional tastings. So I'm sure if they get a big crowd, you know, they have to socially distance you and all that stuff. But as far as that goes, they're still just doing regular wine tastings there. Missouri was much more open to offering tastings and flights and different things than a lot of the other states are right now. There's still, you know, a lot of restrictions in different areas. So it varies by state and of course by county. In Missouri, the rules, they're kind of leaving up what you have to do in the different municipalities. So it varied a little bit as we traveled across. So I'll talk about that when I highlight some of the other wines and some of the other wineries that we experienced while we were on our trip. But for today, I'm going to enjoy this very special Missouri Riesling grape. It's called Sweet Renaissance because they revived this grape, hopefully for good. They've got a lot of vines growing of this apparently. And if you get a chance, Westphalia is just outside of Jefferson City, not too far. Jefferson City, of course, the capital of Missouri. So we were staying in Jefferson City, and we decided to check out a few of the little wineries that were in the area. There weren't a lot just right there close, but this was definitely worth a stop. We had a great visit and a great experience. The owners were just lovely. The owner that we talked to, which was the wife of the couple. So if you get a chance, you should go check them out. It's wine time on the patio. Cheers.